All right, all right, all right. Welcome, 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 everyone, to a new edition of Vegas Badboyz of podcasting. I'm your host, DJ Impact, and I got the Vegas Badboyz here with me. Fellas, 2 nights of WrestleMania. I got the 2020 Tampa Bay WrestleMania shirt. No need to buy a new one when last year works perfectly for this year.
Well, wait. You did.
Yeah.
Did you see what New Day did to their trunks? See that
Canceled and put 2021 on it.
They X'd out the 0
Yeah.
and just put a 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Do that with your shirt.
I will do that.
And maybe take that WWE tag off because it looks like you've never worn the shirt ever.
Exactly.
I know. Well,
he was very upset last year. That's why he didn't wear it last year.
That's right. I'm happy I finally got to wear it. It's just been sitting in the closet waiting. Oh man, fellas. So 2 nights, good stuff. Overall, I think it was a great pay-per-view event. It got off a little rocky though, right? Night one. The heavens decided that maybe this show might not actually happen. Man, what would you guys take on that? Just out of curiosity, when you were seeing what was happening, and when they were talking, and it was like, hey, why is it no one going to the ring? Then they're going backstage, and it's like, man, what's really going on out there? What was you guys take on that?
I thought that it was a thrilling and stunning callback to WrestleMania 25. I mean, God got his revenge on Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon. That's all there was.
Well, I think also more importantly, we got to find out just what kind of relationship Vince McMahon has with the good Lord above. I mean, if he isn't baptized yet, he should be thinking about it by at least next Sunday. Just saying.
I do have to say this, though. Mm-hmm. The half hour that was spent on a weather delay really showed us what can be done when promos are not scripted. Dare I say, there were a couple of missteps here and there, but as a whole, everybody that was given an opportunity to cut a promo that was unscripted knocked it out of the park. Largely, they were some of the most entertaining promos that I've seen in WWE in quite some time. So I think that if nothing else comes out of this WrestleMania, one thing needs to happen, and that is fewer scripted by word promos.
Mm-hmm. Steve, they were all scripted.
No, they weren't. Let's move on.
Oh, man. By the way, if you are watching us and you have access to the comment box, please type your comments in, and we will try to get them on as we go through the list tonight. So with that, let's get right into it. First off, let me go ahead and say, Simon Street, you and I have something in common that the other two don't have.
Yep.
And that is being right.
Yep.
That Bobby Lashley is still the WWE champion, like we said. Now,
Anyway, so Steve, let's talk.
You know what's so funny though? I'm just going to interrupt you real quick because Matt Michaels always does that when the truth comes out. He has to mute it. And the sad part about it is Matt Michaels. You know what, Mike Michaels? You were wrong. Just say it.
I did not.
You were wrong.
No, I wasn't wrong.
How are you not wrong?
Because the loser in the fucking event was me having to watch that goddamn match.
Okay, first of all, there was no fucking in the event. I don't know what WrestleMania you were watching, but there was no fucking. But I was
watching your tape from New Orleans WrestleMania 2 years ago. Oh, man.
Do you want me to send you a new VHS tape? Because I feel like you've replayed that enough times to where you've popped the tape.
Oh, shit. VHS?
Well, that's the only thing Michaels has. He doesn't even have DVD. He's so old school. It's VHS tape. So I had to make a VHS tape.
All right, so let me go right into it. Yes, Bobby Lashley did win that match. Overall, I didn't think that was a bad match. Mm-hmm. And it definitely finally gives Bobby some respect in this game. Yes, I said it. What would you say? Let me go over to you, Sin City, because you're the one that's a little bit more open-minded in your thinking than Matt Michaels. What was your take on this match? Let me see if I didn't view this right.
No, I thought that it was a good match. The only problem that I had was with the finish, to be honest. I don't care if Bobby wins the match. That's completely fine if that's the direction that they want to go. Yeah. But realistically, when you have Drew McIntyre get distracted by MVP saying, "Hey, Drew."
Yeah, I agree.
Really?
Right. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. I would have been much happier if you would have just had Lashley, not even have that in the equation. Just have Lashley lock on the Hurt Lock, have it be just dominant, and you don't need that extra part that made freaking Drew look like a damn geek.
Right.
That was the only problem I had with that match. Although I do have to say, you guys, speaking of WWE, they knew that this match was going on first. This was the first match in the era since they've brought fans back.
Right.
And you have a heel go over. Probably not the best call in my opinion, but whatever. All in all, it was a good match. Both guys did extremely well. Yeah.
Interesting. I never even thought about that.
It would have been better if they would have had, anything else where a babyface goes over.
Is that really important?
No.
I'm just curious. I didn't know.
Well,
that's what I'm asking.
Realistically, it's not really important in this context, and that is with the WWE pumping fan noise in, they had the cheering going for him. So this is why I say this match made no sense. It was fucking stupid to begin with, because you have two guys who are big, just, kind of dull personalities overall. And what are you going to do? You're going to have to pump in volume to get it to play the way you want it to seem like.
Okay. All right.
That and again, the outcome of that match, and then immediately you go into the next match, which we'll talk about. I mean, after those two matches, there were people that were in the crowd that, that sent me texts saying, "Hey, the crowd's dead." And
what match was that?
Tag Team Turmoil came second.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought.
So you have a baby face get defeated in rather convincing fashion, followed up by a match that ended up being one of the less clean matches of the night or of the weekend rather. And it unfortunately took a large segment of the crowd out of it for a while.
Okay. And shout out to the Storm and Mormon with us. He's throwing lots of comments in there with us. Glad you can be with us tonight and hanging out with us. Tag team turmoil match. Let's go right into that. Natalya and Tamina, they won against, they didn't win. They had their match against Nia and Shayna. What did you guys take on that particular match? I mean, was it really that much of a bore? You would just kind of wish maybe that didn't even exist in the show?
Which one? You talking about tag team turmoil?
The turmoil match, yeah.
Did you just tell me to listen?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dad. I'm sorry. Did I not listen? Let me fix my earphones.
To him, and you have to ask what the question was.
Because he said Shayna Baszler, so I asked the darn question.
And that's actually was my mistake, because they was actually in the tag team. It was fighting to fight against Shayna and Nia.
Yeah, I suppose we're talking about night one in chronological order, since that's what you're doing. So
I was just asking. Anyways, let me go before Matt Michaels tears more into my ass for the night. Anyways.
He didn't even watch this show, ladies and gentlemen.
I did watch this show. How would I not watch it? Anyways,
actually I got proof this time he watched it.
Exactly. I was going to impact the whole time. No. The match was okay. I got to be honest with you. I went in with my pick, and if I'm not mistaken, I think I did say I wanted Naomi and Lana to win. I felt like there was something there. But as I was watching the match, and I told Impact, I was like, I really was feeling how the Riot Squad was more polished. I felt like they felt more polished, more comfortable. But unfortunately, they did not win, and we got who we got, which was Tamina and Naomi. who we'll talk about later when they went on to face the tag team champions. It was an okay match. It wasn't horrible.
Who?
I said Tamina and Natalia.
You said Naomi, so you're creating your own.
Oh my gosh, Matt Michaels, you must be so obsessed with me that you just have to wait for me to screw up in some kind of way so that you can say, "Oh my gosh, Simon Street." Anyways, I wish I could mute you. Anyways, the fact that I'm merely saying was it was an okay match.
And he can't mute me, but I can mute him.
Oh, wow. Well, hey, if that's the extent of your extents, then go ahead and extend all day.
All right. So, all right. Well, overall, I guess you guys were either not too impressed with how that match went. So,
Liv looked good.
Yeah.
That's great. Liv looked great. Mm-hmm. And otherwise, the match was to meaningless.
To meaningless.
So, Michaels, you mean you're not on the Tamina train?
It's taken 20 some odd years and I'm still not convinced. Right? She was back there when her dad was still wrestling, right?
Yeah. And you're still not convinced.
She got kids. That's all I got to say. And she's wearing the family girdle. That's the same girdle that Roman Reigns was wearing underneath his vest when he was with the Shield and he couldn't go outside with no shirt on because he had a belly. Just saying.
Well, next up, you had your Cesaro versus Seth Rollins match. Now, this right here, we knew was going to be a great match. And finally, Cesaro got that win. Mm-hmm. I'm a little bit, I'm not sure. It was so funny because I was trying to count along with the spins. I got up to 21. I got up to 21, but Michael Cole said 23 more than what he did last time. I'm like, I don't count 23.
It was just hearing the fans.
Yeah.
I was specifically looking at that because it was funny. The way they were shooting it, like you could hear the fans chanting a number, but he hadn't gotten even fully into it. He was only like halfway through his turn yet.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Wait.
WWE does not inflate numbers.
No, never.
No.
Never.
Nor does wrestling in general. I mean, let's look back at WCW with Goldberg's historical winning streak. How accurate was that one?
That actually was accurate.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know about that one, but okay. You got the VHS tapes, so you would know.
Yeah, I was going to say.
What do you guys think about, if you remember, the that twisting splash off the rope that Seth did? That was a little different.
It was one of I think a couple of people who were being very versatile with moves. You started seeing different utilization of moves, and that was one. We don't know what to call it. Do we have an official name of what that is, Steve? You're the number one person.
I mean,
that knows what these things are.
It was a corkscrew frog splash.
Is that that's what it's called?
Well, he hasn't given it a name, but if he's smart, he should.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Good body control. Like that's not easy to do.
Well, let's give Cesaro the shout out for who cares about the spins. Big deal. Putting a guy on your fucking shoulders. Holy shit, man.
The UFO, baby.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called, the UFO?
It's called the UFO. Yeah, he did it on the Indies as Claudio Castagnoli, and people within WWE have known that he's been able to do that move for years. And he, it's something that he literally has been holding out for a singles match at WrestleMania to do that. So he's never done it on any other show that he's been a part of within WWE. Okay. So he did it at the right time. Rollins looked amazing as he was going around up there. I mean, it was flawless execution, and Cesaro got his WrestleMania moment. He got the big win. I was over the moon with this match and this outcome. Finally, hopefully they're giving Cesaro the push that he so rightly deserves.
And Seth Rollins is a fucking MVP.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Period. He does not get the fucking love he deserves.
Yep.
So give it to him, guys. He's fucking amazing.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, Storm Mormon just said Rollins gets it with doing what's best for business and not having an ego by letting Cesaro get over.
Yeah, his ego comes out in the suits.
Yeah.
DJ, how'd you like his suits, huh? How do you like those, huh, buddy?
I like half of this selections, but not the other half. You know. All right, well, good stuff. That was actually a great match that we got a chance to see. Then we went right over to the Raw Tag Team Championship titles. The New Day versus AJ Styles and Omos.
Yes. What was our picks, by the way? What were our picks? Who picked AJ Styles and Omos?
I won't lie. I said New Day because I've whatever.
What did you pick, Michaels?
I am assuming AJ and Omos, but see, I don't give a shit about the picks.
Oh my gosh.
Well, no, I really don't. I mean, it's like I don't really ever think about that afterwards, like some fucking obsessed with people. But
that's the whole purpose why you do a pick.
No,
see if you win.
See if you win. What did I win?
Nothing. Well, apparently DraftKings understands the excitement of picking things. Somebody won $25,000.
$25,000.
I'm just saying. I mean, obviously there's something to it, Matt Michaels. I'm sorry you're a little sour. Huh?
Cash up.
Put the cash up. Yeah, I just told you DraftKings put $25,000.
Shut the fuck up, dude. We gotta get through.
You shut the fuck up. What the hell? You're so sour today.
Anyway, if I can finish my fucking point.
Well, until you stop muting me, I'm going to keep going. You're going to have to keep muting me the whole night.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Jesus Christ is the reason why we had night one.
You know what's happening to you.
What's happened? You take me out.
So anyway, if I could finish a fucking thought, Omos was fucking perfect.
And I'm right back, and I'm going to finish exactly what I said before. Michaels, why are you so sour? Do you need a hug? Do you need a Care Bear? Everybody right now that's watching, send Matt Michaels a Care Bear from Amazon so he can stop being so sour.
Can we get through the rest of the fucking show?
I don't know. You tell me. You wouldn't let me finish.
All right, guys. Go ahead, finish.
Go ahead. Go ahead, DJ Impact. I'm done now.
Let me go over to you, Sin City. Maybe we can try to figure this whole thing out.
So the thing that I found to be extremely interesting, I did pick New Day in this match.
Yeah.
But it became obvious right out of the gate that this match was laid out in a really interesting way because you had the New Day, the supposed babyface tag team champions, isolating the smaller man of the team, AJ, and getting all of the heat on AJ. If you look at it, the New Day basically worked the match as almost heels without any kind of cheating or any kind of heel tactics.
Right.
And then once Omos got the tag in, obviously he just did his thing and looked extremely dominant. And you have new Raw tag team champions. I didn't see this coming whatsoever, but I don't hate it. And I think that it was extremely well done, even though the way that the match was laid out was kind of backwards, in my opinion. Having the baby faces work as heels and then having the heels work as baby faces. You're going to have this everywhere that you go. People are always going to want to cheer the dominant big man that's there just to wreck shop.
Sure.
So we'll see what happens. But keep in mind, WWE is back at their own Thunderdome starting next week where they can control the cheers and the boos. So
That's right.
Very true.
Matt Michaels, were you impressed by Omos?
Well, I think I said I was, but you guys couldn't hear me because this fuck kept talking and not letting me just get a point out so we could just move on. But
go ahead, get it out.
Yeah, Omos was great. Perfect. I mean, I said that.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Got you. And let me ask you, Simon, did you want to throw anything in this particular match that stood out for you?
No, I think exactly what Matt Michaels said. Almost was perfect. Enough said. I mean, he was great.
Okay. Well, then with that, let's move right over into Shane McMahon and Braun Strowman. Steel cage match. We got a chance to see Braun literally tear a cage apart.
That was awesome.
Well, listen, we knew Shane was going to do something. We all predicted he was going to, jump off the boat, but I guess you can't do that if they're using that as the as part of the setup. So he had to go for the cage. But I don't know. I mean, the message, of course, that they were trying to get out, the idea of not bullying, and I'm guessing that came out through for the fact that Braun wins, that it came through the message that way. But the overall match, did that sell it being an entertaining match for any of you?
You mean using the message of bullying or just the match itself? I just want to make sure.
Just the match itself. We know
just the match itself was great. There was no need for the buildup of the bullying angle. I thought the Braun dumb, I guess, if you wanted to coax him into fighting you, but anyway, didn't need the extra, for everybody that was bullied. Like, come on, bro, you've been 6'3" since 12 years old. I highly doubt that you were bullied in school.
Yeah.
So true. Yeah. It didn't need the extra little added kind of oomph that gave it, but I see why they did it. Realistically speaking, Braun got a WrestleMania moment throwing Shane from the top of the cage, which I thought was pulled off extremely well. And hopefully this means that we won't be seeing any more Shane McMahon matches.
That's usually how it goes, right? We don't see him for 3-4 months.
Yep.
Yeah.
No offense to Shane, but it's just time.
He'll be back though, you know that, right?
Yeah, of course he'll be back, and his punches will be just as bad as ever.
Dude, you want to talk bad punches? We're coming up on a bad punch guy.
Okay,
let y'all talk.
You know what?
That.
Let's get right into this. Bad Bunny, Damian Priest, The Miz, John Morrison. For starters, because I had Simon Street, of course, over here watching it with me. We had our own Vegas Bad Boy show going back and forth across the couch because I was highly impressed with Bad Bunny. And I just thought this guy really showed that he really wanted to, show that this is not like being a joke. He wanted to do as much as he can to make the fight look legitimate, at best as he could, because we all know that he isn't a wrestler. And seeing him do some of the moves he did, I was just like, man, this is pretty awesome. But Mr. Simon Street over here was just, this is whack. This is ridiculous. It shouldn't be on. This makes no sense. And I don't know. He's on this idea of believing that WWE apparently makes matches for us instead of him understanding that they make matches or their entertainment value is for younger ones. Am I wrong on this one? Let me go over to you, Matt Michaels, in my thinking on this. Am I wrong in thinking we knew that for the most part, we knew, I think most people thought, and remember, if you remember last week, I said, or the week before that this was going to be one of those throwaway matches. One that's just, man, it's whack. I already know it's going to be. Why bathroom break, everything. But then after I watch it, I'm going, no, this is actually really entertaining for what it was. Why was I entertained? Because I know you probably may actually agree with Simon on this in terms of not being entertained.
Okay, so we have two separate things going on here.
Okay.
And this is what makes it brilliant, because you're going to get people on the internet saying it was the best celebrity match debut or match ever.
Okay.
And you're going to get people saying that it was just fucking stupid. What a bullshit match. The truth is there was entertainment to it. All right. Value-wise, entertainment-wise, I'm not going to deny that. What I am going to say is it was put in the wrong spot in the show. The match following it is your main event. Now, keep this in context. First, Bad Bunny is the one who's isolated starting the match. He's the non-wrestler. First things you notice about Bad Bunny is that when he threw his punches, when they showed the punches, you could see his wrist totally go limp. All right. So he was not putting enough behind it to guys who are used to taking fucking shots from men who are 260 pounds and coming at you pretty fucking tough. So he could have laid in it. All right. But of course, he doesn't probably want to get hurt. Same thing too. Notice they didn't do any throwing around of him, any slams, anything like that, right? Anything that he was doing that put his body in danger more so, he was doing. Jumping off the top rope, taking the flip for the Canadian Destroyer and everything like that, right? Mm-hmm. So you're working with two guys. Miz and Morrison should have all the fucking credit in this match, period. Fuck Bad Bunny. He did a good job, but it was Miz and Morrison who made him look like $1 million. Number two, they made him look like $1 million because A, if his punches were that effective against Miz and Morrison to where they were fucking getting, loopy, then when Damian Priest came in, one of his punches should have knocked them out, period. Okay? Number two, Bad Bunny, they're like being taken back by his leap. It forced his body, the bodies, blah, blah, blah. In your main event, the very next match, Sasha, who is bigger than Bad Bunny, goes and jumps, and Bianca fucking just catches her and moves her up. Now, if Bad Bunny was to have done that, right, to Bianca, you would assume, okay, she'd obviously catch her because she caught Sasha. If Sasha would have done that to Miz and Morrison, you would have expected them to catch her because she's a bigger person, but they fucking would have gotten take over because of her body. It just made no fucking sense that he was doing stuff that was causing Miz and Morrison to fucking flail and fall down when you had the obvious next match, two stronger people showing that two guys like Miz and Morrison couldn't go with those two women.
I think, listen, you guys with the idea of what should, heels shouldn't be winning first and you shouldn't put this placement on the card. I'm sure some of those things matter, but after that match was over, by no means I'm looking at the fact that how that match was presented, especially going after what I knew was coming next. I had no, to me, that doesn't even matter that it was placed there. It was not even something that even crossed my mind. Like, why did they place that match there?
You don't think about that. You don't think about that. And that's why I said, remember, the first thing I said was that the entertainment value was there. And you are the perfect example of that. You were
amen.
I was entertained.
Oh, you should have saw how entertained he was.
And impressed.
He was jumping up and down. And he looked over to his right, and everybody was like me. Like,
of course he's going to
put. I hope that your impression, all right? I hope that you are impressed enough to potentially see this guy now 5 more or 10 more or 20 more times. And then we'll see how impressed you are down that road.
A Bad Bunny?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that's your boy. That's your boy.
He ain't getting back in the ring. He got
That's your boy.
Oh, no, wait.
He got his WrestleMania payday. He's going on tour.
He will go on tour, but eventually the tour ends.
Right. No, I definitely have to give Bad Bunny a lot of props. I mean, he made the move down in February, I believe it was, to the Performance Center. He actually had been there every day since he moved down there temporarily, and went in there like a job, like, Monday through Friday, every single day he was there. And for him to show that kind of dedication for being an outsider, to the business. I mean, it was said in the promos against him, you know, that he didn't belong here, yada, yada.
Right.
For him to go there and to actually put in the work day in and day out for 3-4 months really is, it says a lot about him as a person and his work ethic, but also how seriously he took this opportunity and this business.
Right.
So I have a ton of respect for Bad Bunny. To be honest, I didn't really know shit about the guy before.
Me neither.
But I definitely respect him a whole hell of a lot more than what I did the very first time that he came out and sang a song.
Yeah.
Bottom line. And he had one of the better celebrity matches at WrestleMania that we've ever seen.
Yep.
And it's awesome. It was a great situation. You had perfect foils for him in Miz and Morrison. And I couldn't have asked for anything better for this situation. I mean, you had Bad Bunny in there taking 90% of the match, which makes sense when you know what you do about Damian Priest and his back and his health issues that he's having right now.
Mm-hmm.
But for him to take 90% of that match, most of it consisted of the heels getting heat on him. And for him to, put that out there, it's just all told, one of the best celebrity arcs that we've had in WWE in near memory. Bottom line.
Absolutely. And Sean just said the viewers that Bad Bunny brought in doesn't understand anything Matt's suggesting. The high spots and fast action hooked them. Again, WWE doesn't book for us long-term fans.
And
so there you go.
Shit, I kept saying again, it was entertaining. I just would not have put it in that position. I would have put it earlier in the show. And one of the things that you alluded to earlier on was that the women's fucking gauntlet thing.
Yeah.
That thing could have gone on like somewhere in between, right?
Yep.
And you could put this match second, maybe even first, and put Lashley and fucking Drew later. I don't know. But I just would not have put it there. That's all. And I also I will not say that he was perfect. That's what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't perfect. But Miz and Morrison did their job.
Yes,
they
did. What's going to get it's going to get lost during this whole thing.
Yeah. Simon Street, I want to go ahead and let you get on this, man. You definitely gave it to me, man. You still stand by your position?
Look, I still stand by my ultimate position, and you didn't mention it, but that's okay. You were enthusiastic about how Bad Bunny did. The big criticism that I honestly have, but before I get into that, I'm going to talk about the things that some of the other gentlemen did talk about, and I agree 100%. As far as celebrities in a WWE WrestleMania event atmosphere, Bad Bunny has raised the bar as far as many high spots as he did, as his work ethic, as of what he did. Now, I'm not going to lie, he probably could have worked on some punches. But hey, that's a small part of the bigger thing he presented, and I give him props about that. For us that are wrestling fans or people who have actually been in the ring, it is something we take with pride. And he showed that he is a lifelong fan, B, respects the product, and C, he really went the extra mile to do it. Like Sin City Steve said, since he moved in, he went to NXT, he pulled the grind, and it showed. My only criticism is that there was too much time dedicated, and also what Matt Michaels said, that it was in the spot that it was. And I think that's something that WWE is going to have to be careful next time, because the goal is to bring in younger audience. But don't get it twisted. If WWE or any other wrestling promotion really honestly thinks that, hey, we're going to pull all these social media people, two different worlds, baby. I got kids that watch social media, and not a lot of kids that watch YouTube all the time really watch wrestling unless they get an opportunity to watch wrestling. So you're going to have to modify and change the format of wrestling in general if that's the goal you're trying to do. The best thing you can do is exactly what Sin City said, Steve. He didn't know Bad Bunny from which way. I've known Bad Bunny when he first came out. He is amazing. But now that he knows that, what's the chances that he may want to go to a concert? Possibly. Or what's the chances if someone talks about Bad Bunny? So that's that. WWE succeeded in that. And I think that's what gets lost in translation. I think even what we'll talk about later with another TV personality that you'll see, people are thinking, oh, we're going to change wrestling landscape so that we get younger audience. No, we're trying to groom them. So that way, as they get older and their attention span widens a bit, they may want to take on wrestling because it's been introduced by their favorite YouTube stars or their younger music talents. So Bad Bunny, my props come to you. You're not going to give me the WrestleMania memory celebrity. I'm not going to think back. Man, Impact, do you remember Bad Bunny match? I'm not, but I appreciate the work he put in.
Well, let me throw one more comment out, Sean, because it goes right into the next match. And he just said one opinion on the spot was that if WWE wanted those fans to stay for the main event, if it was, wanted those fans to stay for the main event, if it was earlier, WWE may have been afraid those fans would not have tuned out. The main event, I mean, if you got the fans there, you want them definitely to be there for the main event for the SmackDown Women Championship, Sasha Banks and Bianca. Go ahead.
But here's the just the tiny bit of flaw in that thinking.
Okay.
So if those kids then saw that match right then and there, who were only interested in Bad Bunny, then they turned their TVs off anyway when it came to
that's true too.
That. So why not put Bad Bunny at the main event if you want to keep that audience that long?
Okay.
I think this was a testing ground. Before we go to our next one, I think it was a testing ground for what they may want to do. I think they'll doctor up the science on it, on what they want to do in the future, because those are important things, because it does have to be tactically thought through, because you're dealing with a lot of different elements if you're going for the goal to try and retain younger viewer audiences who, like I said, smaller attention span. If you watch TikTok and YouTube, it's a way different type of format.
No doubt. With SmackDown Women's Championship, Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, you could probably say one of the greatest women matches you've probably seen. Some could say in a long time. Some may say ever. I said some. Our historian can go, no. But someone who's just new will be like, yeah, ever. Anyways.
I'm sorry, did you watch night 2?
Yes, we watched night 2. We'll get into that.
We'll get to night 2. We'll get to night 2. Nevertheless, yes, Sasha Banks and Bianca, what a match, right? We knew that this was going to be a pretty good beat down. It's going to have some good skills applied to that. Sasha had to be ready, and she was. What was your guys' take overall?
Ass beating?
I'm going to reserve. Hey, real quick. I'm going to reserve what I got to say last, because I have more emotional investment with Sasha. If that's okay, gentlemen, with you, if that's okay. I'm asking for permission cordially.
Yes.
Thank you, Sin City Steve. Thank you.
Well,
is that okay, Michaels? Can I go last?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Look, I tell you, listen, anytime, I'll just throw it out there, anytime now where there are African-Americans, either male or female, who get to main event, who get to have that moment, that for starters, just for me, was just amazing to see. I can only imagine what it was for girls who saw that, and even women or girls of color who seen of that. That just had to be amazing. Just the starting of that, and I think both of them knew the importance of that. And then it even became even more emotional for me when Bianca, just knowing her story. I didn't. What was it? The Chronicles, I guess it was, that she had.
Chronicles.
Yeah. When you watch that and you then see what she's, what she did in NXT and all the way up to now, man, she has just put in the work. And it just shows that even during those trying times, that this right here could be your moment. It just did a lot. It was definitely one of those moments for me that it was just great to see. But overall, the match itself, it did I thought that it was really great. I didn't know who was going to win. I really didn't have a winner in this. I remember Simon was saying who would win. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I like Bianca to win. That's great. But at the same time, Sasha's also been a great champion too. You know, I believe it's Bianca's time, but I could be wrong. Nevertheless, I felt it was just going to be a good match regardless. Let me go over to you, Sin City. What was your take on this match when you saw it?
I thought that it was an extremely solid match. I mean, I think we all had pretty high expectations just giving the two competitors in the match. But even in light of that, those ladies delivered. And this definitely proved that it belonged in the main event slot of WrestleMania. So, you know, to shatter any and all glass ceilings, barriers, anything like that, it definitely did what it needed to do. And I think that you hit the nail right on the head with what you said, Impact. It's something to where representation matters. And I guarantee that we've got some people that were just checking out the show that, as you said, you know, younger girls of color and that have checked out the show that see them in the main event. And who knows, a future WWE women's champion may have decided that they wanted to get into the business based solely off of that match. Absolutely. I think that it is that good and it stands up. So, I do have to echo John's point in the chat. Sure. I was going to say this anyway, but the spot where Bianca gorilla pressed Sasha, walked her up the steps and tossed her into the ring was beyond impressive, regardless of gender, regardless of anything. If anybody would have done that to any other competitor, it would have been massive. But again, given the scope of the magnitude of this match.
Except for Bad Bunny. And that proves my Bad Bunny point. That's what I'm saying on that.
Well, in any event, I think that, you know, these two ladies brought absolutely everything that they possibly could to the table. And this definitely is a match of the year contender.
Absolutely. Matt Michaels, what's up?
So, you know, the match was great, period. But there's two things that I would look at that I just think, you know, were just kind of missteps. One, I get that it's emotional, but don't show you guys starting to sob at the beginning of the match. All right. You're supposed to go in there and you want to beat that person's ass. That's just your goal. All right. When you finish the match, y'all can cry all you want because you got through it. This moment was big and stuff, but have every intention. Don't lose your shit before you start the match. Okay. Overwhelming. I get it. But it's just, you know, when you look at some of those other moments, The Rock and Hogan, what did they do? They just looked at the crowd, looked at each other. You know, keep your shit together. With that being said, I think the WWE fucked up. I think this match should have been the actual headliner of WrestleMania. Put it on Sunday night. There was no reason for that triple threat to be the main event and compared to what that match meant in terms of the historic principle of it. And the way that they were starting to talk about it made it like, oh, they're main eventing WrestleMania. This is so big, so big. But traditionally now, when you look at the end of everything, to me, it was their mistake to put it on the end of night one. Put it on the end of night two. Bring in the actual show that is your actual fucking main event. Because if you look at it, right, this was a divide of two shows, you know. So essentially what you're sort of doing is saying, okay, if you put them together, that's your end of, you know, that's where your intermission would have been in the old WrestleMania days, right? And the 6-hour show would have had been, you know, an intermission as well. So put it on the fucking end of it. Make it your actual main event. The thing that's headlining on top of all of the matches is that match. Because in all honesty, they didn't even announce that match was going to be the main event officially. It was always just kind of hinted at even when Steph kind of said it, it was not given like a full, hey, this is going to be our main event. So I want to call bullshit on WWE pushing it as their main event when they didn't even really position it to be their main event, and they should have.
All right, let's go over to you, Simon.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you, Matt Michaels, for saying that about the Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks should have been night 2. I think giving the weight of the match, the historical significance of the match, even though it was on night 2, I will say this: I do feel that it still sold the show, even from the main event that we saw tonight. And it's because of, and for me as a Black man, whenever I heard the part where I kind of had to contain myself a little bit is when I heard Michael Cole said, this is the first time ever we had 2 Black women main event WrestleMania. It brings
street. Not just Black women.
Well, I know
African American.
2 African American women. Thank you for correcting me.
No, not women. Period. There has never been.
I get what you're saying. You're right. I'm saying that it really made my heart sing, because for so long as a fan, you grow up loving the WWE, the WWF, and you want to see that. And not to take the coin phrase of Edge, when you see it and you dream it, you want to manifest it, and I've waited for a long time to see that, just in general, as you said, Michaels, any Black person to headline WrestleMania. So that was a dream come true for me, to be a fan living in this moment, to see that first and foremost. Second of all, Bianca Belair, I don't fault her for the crying a little bit, although I'm sure she was trying the best that she could. It kind of went with the storyline, in my opinion.
It wasn't just her.
Well, Sasha too, and I'm going to get to that. But the reason why I felt like, because again, it's still the captivating thought of the pressure. You are representing generations upon generations of people who went in this business that wanted that spot. And so you have to make sure that you give everything that you have, all the passion, all the drive, the culmination of the story that's built up to this point. And those 2 incredible athletes, regardless if they were women or men, put it all there. And that was sure amazing. And that emotion is why us as wrestling fans in general love this, because you feel the passion, you feel the conviction, you feel going past that boundaries. These 2 women not only locked up arms physically, they locked up their souls in that ring. And we got a chance to witness that history. And at the end of the night, I feel that the right person won. And I say that because Sasha Banks feels that the right person won. Mercedes feels that the right person won. And a lot of credit does need to go to Sasha Banks, because Sasha Banks was the perfect person, in my opinion, for Bianca Belair to make history with that night. It couldn't have been anybody else. It had to be Sasha Banks. Because even I dare say, and I could be wrong, on a personal level with emotion and going through similar things in your personal life, Sasha Banks or Mercedes could identify, knowing that, how that feels to be one of the only Black women in the company and having to do better, having to be better. Even though Bianca is the EST, the fastest, the strongest, the smartest, Sasha Banks or Mercedes, when she was coming up, knew she had to be that. And if you remember back when she was in NXT, that was a little bit of her mantra of having to be boss, built on self-success. So again, when I said a long time ago that this was my dream WrestleMania match, I kid you not. Now, I did not weep and tear because I was still in shock. But when I got home, I'll be honest with you, I had a tear just remembering back. Impact was crying like a baby. He needed 2 paper towels to dry up the tears. But I think there was a lot of other people. So when you think of moments in Black history and wrestling where you had Kofi Kingston win and how emotional that was, and you had Bobby Lashley when he won the title on Raw, and even when he won this Monday night to some extent for people. But I'm going to be honest with you, Bianca Belair, and Sasha Banks, as far as the historical wrestling presence, that victory and that match was a victory in itself for all of us who manifested and wanted to be there. And for that, I am so proud. And I thank Vince McMahon. I thank WWE for giving them that opportunity and picking the two best women that could have conveyed that. And I will never forget that match as long as I live. That is matches that I will, people ask me, what's your favorite WrestleMania match of all time? For me, Simon Street, it was that match. Everything. And that's all I'll say with that.
Hey, man, well said. Well said. Shout out to the new women's SmackDown's champion, Bianca Belair, which goes right into night 2, which is tonight. We started off with Randy Orton and The Fiend. Well, there was a huge Jack in the Box. You know what? Let me ask y'all this: why did he need to change back to the old Fiend? Why could he not wrestle as this burnt up Fiend? What was wrong with that?
Well, if you were willing to put on that costume and wrestling it, man, you could go ahead and do it. I'm sure that's pretty much what it came down to, is that costume was not made for wrestling.
It didn't look very functional. It looked very tight. He would have been very stiff, I feel, if he had have wrestled in that Chucky 2 getting burnt up outfit he had on.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's fair.
There was a lot into that costume.
Sure. All right. Well, let's get right into it. They had their match. It got a little weird at the end.
Little. I think everybody in the crowd did WTF. The dude in the front in the green shirt with the Fiend mask was like, "Hey, did you see what happened? What happened?" He was bewildered, just as all of us were. Like, okay, all this build up, all of this stuff going on with Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton. And I mean, I get it. Randy Orton took advantage and hit the RKO, but Alexa Bliss, shout out, that was cool with the black stuff coming out. But what was it for? Are we going to have to find out tomorrow on Raw? I know, Michaels, that was the whole purpose, but I wanted more context. Just a little bit of breadcrumbs if we are going to find out the conclusion of what that meant on Raw.
Did you not get the breadcrumb was right in your fucking face, man?
Well, tell me what the breadcrumb is, because apparently I was blind as Ray Charles.
So when that moment happened, the one thing that triggered that cue was when he put Orton into Sister Abigail.
Remember, I told you that.
So you saying that she's Sister Abigail?
Something to do with Sister Abigail,
or she doesn't like Sister Abigail, and she not you representing the wrong female. I see what you're saying. I'm just curious. I just wanted more.
Well, we won't know until they explain what it is, man.
Yeah, on Raw. Look. I tell you right now, if they wanted us to stick tuned to Raw, I hope they place it within the second hour of when we usually don't want to watch Raw.
And by the way, Chris in our chat says Alexa's face is what happens when Mentos meets a Coke.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
It's also what happens when an octopus jacks off on you.
Oh my God.
Has that happened to you before? How long is the cleanup, Michaels? Do you use Dawn soap to get the oil off? Like, you know, when there's an oil spill and they have the duckies and stuff.
Right.
Do you wipe that on your face?
I'd had to have 36 little, peace people from Greenpeace come and do the whole bath thing for
really. So what you're saying is when that octopus grabbed on you, did you take the beak?
Toothbrush.
Ew.
But there you go. So let me go over you, Sin City. I mean, overall, I guess we were expecting a little bit more from this match for starters. Yep. But we got a quick match and
for everything that WWE did in night 1, hitting a home run.
Yeah.
They seemingly undid most of it with this match. It really pissed. I know, Michaels, whatever. Regardless, it pissed me off.
Sorry they didn't have a fake arcade outside around.
No, dude, no. Like, give me a logical fucking conclusion to the story. I don't give a fuck about AEW. I'm not even trying to compare the two. But the fact is,
the story's not between Orton and him. The Orton and him are done. The story's between Alexa and the Fiend. We haven't seen it yet. She just brought him back to life from the dead. I can't believe I'm just saying that about a wrestling fucking event, but she brought him back from the dead, and we don't know what the fuck is going on, and we're going to find out, Steve.
Regardless, it took me out of night two. I was pretty pissed off after it. So,
Wow.
Right out of the gate, whatever. Like,
I'm so glad you didn't have a ticket, man.
No shit. Same here.
Well, hold on. Can I pause for 2 seconds? And how you felt, Sin City Steve, is how I felt many years ago when we had young Nicholas in a tag team match.
Oh,
so
I was there for that bullshit too.
I can empathize. We're all sitting together.
So, but no, like in all seriousness, like it I don't know. Like everybody that I've talked to online, and I had a couple of friends that went to the show that were present in the stands, and they made comments again that after that match, it somewhat killed the crowd. And I mean, go back and watch it. And watch it. The reactions were not good after that match.
I would agree on that. Going over to you, to Matt Michaels, that when the lights went out and came back on and they disappeared, there were some boos, which is something you probably don't necessarily want to hear coming off of that. But I don't know,
well, you also don't want to hear the boos when the Bellas are beating up on Bailey.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, I talked about that
guys.
too.
You got to listen. Again, you got to put it in context. You can't have that ruin your whole fucking rest of your night, when the fact of the matter is that if you are a fan in live attendance, and if you let that piss you off to where it ruins your night, well, thank God they got your fucking cash, because you're stupid enough to pay for it. So that's not them. If you're willing to pay for it, you're paying for it. Sitting at home though, dude, it's $5 now. Listen, just enjoy it. It was,
you pay $5.
Well, no, but that's what it comes down to, man. It's simply, again, it's entertainment. Was it great? Execute it well? No, of course not. But did it make sense in the sense that they're setting up something? Yeah, and let it happen. It's their fucking character that is from beyond. All right, just let it be. Were you pissed that the Undertaker wrestling the Undertaker wasn't the Undertaker actually wrestling himself? So,
I was too young to give a shit.
All right, well, hey, let's jump right into our next one.
Hey, I didn't get a chance to say something.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, I don't have to say nothing.
It's
okay, man.
My apologies. Go ahead.
No, it's all good, man. The only thing I really was going to say is, you know what? I'm going to sip a little bit of the Outland juice that Michaels be sipping on. After hearing Michaels kind of break it down like that, I could see the significance of how they do it in my mind from what Michael said in one purpose. It's a way to detach Orton from the Fiend. Exactly. So I get that. I'm sipping on the Outland juice you be on and shit, man. Okay, so I get it. All right. It's a perfect way to separate Randy Orton, who incidentally, side note, was wearing the same color coordination as the Rated R Superstar, but we'll get into that later. All I'm merely saying is that's smart. Because now whatever's going to happen with the Fiend in Alexa, the Demoness Princess, whatever the hell we calling her now, they can do that, and then it opens them up to do something else. It needed to be a finale, a final end of him and Orton. I think that if that had to continue to go on, we would have all been bitching and complaining the next Sunday, I believe. So,
okay.
Don't forget, in the end, what we're about to find out is, was that a turn? And could it possibly be that Alexa is the heel and the Fiend's actually now just kind of a face, because he's kind of, well, he came back from being burnt to life. He might be, not the same Fiend. So
he was more animated.
If you'll notice, he was also getting a majority of the cheers tonight too.
Well, he was also more animated. Did you notice he was way more animated than what he was before? It was almost more of a mixture of Bray Wyatt, Funhouse, Firefly House, mixed in with the Fiend. So maybe that was the way he got reborn, was some kind of way. It sounds interesting. I'm down to wait and see.
Okay. Good stuff. We had Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Natalya, and Tamina the next match. And that one was kind of a very quiet, just kind of people on their phones, just kind of, hey, what are you doing after Mania tonight? We're going to Jack in the Box or what?
That's what you was doing. That's what you was doing.
That's that conversation.
You was on your phone, bro.
Hey, yeah, because I'm sending out 1,000 posts to say, tell folks, hey, we're over here, Vegas Bad Boys. But yes, I don't know. You guys tell me. I mean, did they do what they needed to do for that, or it was just it didn't live up to the hype?
What hype? We just found
Every
out
match is a
24
hype.
hours before that they were wrestling.
Well, let me go ahead and start and get it out the way. I'll go ahead and start get out the way because I did talk about this with Impact. First and foremost, the big question mark is what is WWE going to do with their women's tag team division? Because although it is set in place, it is a little bit stale, and we need way stronger tag teams if we're going to be really putting in time into these titles. With that being said, I will say that I felt that the match was trying to convey what we probably wanted to see, but saw the reality result of Tamina and Nia Jax. We kind of wanted to see that, and I think they tried to push that, but I think it fell short. I think a lot of it too is a little too late. I wish that Tamina, I think the word I want to use was a little bit more acclimated to the challenge of it. I think I've heard that she's been pushing extra hard and stuff. And I'm not saying that she's out of shape. I'm saying that in the sense of where they want her to be, I feel she's not there yet. At least not, in storyline wise. I feel like they could have developed that more. I think last time before we saw them two interact was SmackDown the night before, right? This past Friday was the first time we saw them interact. I wish that they had done that a little bit earlier, maybe that would have conveyed that, but that's what I saw that wasn't conveyed was Nia Jax and Tamina. Natalie did a fantastic job, which I think does sometimes get underrated a lot sometimes, but the match unfortunately a bit of a lull. It felt a little discombobulated at times, but it wasn't as nearly as a couple of the botches we saw with the tag turmoil where, people are doing running clothesline and ain't nobody there. And, there was a couple botches in that one. So this one didn't have as many botches, but it fell short to what I think they were trying to present to us. And out of a 5, I gave it a 2.
Wow. How about all right, let's go over to you, Sin City. Did you care much about it, or you're like whatever?
Next.
Okay. Matt Michaels, you saying?
0.
It
should have been the Riot Squad.
Well,
put you on that one.
The thing is that and that's the misstep. The misstep was if you were going to do this where you had Natalya and Tamina together in this high profile match where they can win titles at WrestleMania, and you have your commentators talking about their legacies, why the fuck don't you put the belts on them?
Right.
That's why I didn't feel like anything to anyone, because there was never a point in that match where it made it feel like they were going to win the titles. And that was the problem. Your minute you could have done it is when Tamina had the splash. She should have hit the splash on Nia. Nia should have just barely kicked out.
Yep.
Then you would have had an investment. But no one was fucking invested because there was every indication that they were not going to win this match. And the other thing is, was it not weird that Reggie wasn't out there?
I thought that too, but I was actually satisfied that he wasn't.
It's just really strange. You spent all this time building with Reggie, and so I wonder if he had a COVID test.
Interesting. That is a good
He was just exhausted with all the shopping he does with Nia.
Well, maybe it wasn't shopping.
He put in that overtime and couldn't clock in for the next day of work. I'm done. Go ahead.
So the biggest factor here, to be honest, was in the end, we really saw that it was a way to get a payday for more of the women in the company. A little more of that WrestleMania taste. And that's fine. They did their job with it. What are you gonna say? They shouldn't have booked a female gauntlet tag match to get 8 people, and then I'm sure Natalya and Tamina get more money for working double duty. So, hey, you know, by the way, Brett was able to get the sharpshooter on Yokozuna. So when Natalia was starting to do it on Nia, I'm just like, well, she better.
It's expected. It's legacy. You know?
Well, if you could do it
Uncle
on Yokozuna,
Brett did it. Yeah.
Well, if you can do it on Yokozuna and his legs, I mean,
his thighs was a whole lot bigger.
I mean, Nia's got some nice, tasty thighs there, but
you said that, but okay.
All right, let's jump right over into Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Logan Paul. Let me just say for starters that I have so much enjoyed this storyline with Sami Zayn. I have never just been so just impressed with the storyline and just entertained with the whole idea of everything being a conspiracy. And there isn't one, but in his mind, it is. It's great. I hate for them to, as far as I'm concerned, they could keep going with it, but I'm sure they're about to put them on something else. But man, just everything leading up to this night is what made it really great, just because the way Sami has just been selling this whole thing for months now. So anyway, what's your guys' take on that? Logan Paul, we already knew. And see, that's the difference between someone like him and then Bad Bunny, right? I'm thinking when you think of a celebrity, when someone ever gets involved, I'm thinking the way Logan Paul was positioned is the way I think most celebrities are. So when I saw Bad Bunny completely on a total, 15 minutes in the ring, I guess that's why I get impressed, because I was thinking that what Logan Paul did was something that Bad Bunny was more likely. I'm just saying, that's how I thought.
DJ.
Yeah.
Being the historian of the show, I will remind you that the main event of WrestleMania 1 included Mr. T actually wrestling, to the point where he was so popular, and even though he was a pain in the ass to work with, they brought him back to do a boxing match in WrestleMania 2 with Piper. So listen, the established is always there. We have not seen.
Yeah, but you don't see that all the time, though, man. I mean, you have to go back to WrestleMania 1 to mention that.
Well, of course, because not all celebrities are meant to be in the ring. All right.
And Bad Bunny is one of the ones that should be in the ring.
I'm not saying you shouldn't. Again, I don't understand where you're coming with. I'm saying that you should. What I'm saying to you is this: the other celebrities throughout the years have been legitimate athletes, and they, if you expect anyone to have a good match, it should be them.
Correct. So
their bar, they set it really fucking low. But the last real celebrity to actually wrestle in a match was Mr. T. And without that match, we don't have WrestleMania 37. All right. So the fact of the matter is, what Logan Paul was there to do was exactly that. He came in literally 2 weeks, 3 weeks. He had nothing. There was no plans for him to do anything other than to be some kind of person in this match that was going to cause a distraction, and to do something for Kevin Owens that I think is about fucking time they do. They just made Owens stone cold.
Yep. Might I add, hashtag when he, I'm going to make a hashtag and we'll see if it goes somewhere. When he stunned him, which everybody was cheering for, I was like, YouTube's for kids, take a stunner. I felt like that he was saying, because basically Logan Paul is about as YouTube as it gets, and is not just what WWE presented it as. He actually is, and he is training for a fight. And actually, the one who won out of this whole match was Logan Paul, because at the end of the day, Logan Paul does better when everybody's against him. Just ask Nate Robinson. Everybody wanted Nate Robinson to whoop his ass. Whoop his ass. And what your boy Logan Paul do? Knocked him out, and the world now calls, when you get knocked out, instead of night, it's Nate. So he used the same formula. WWE was nice enough to invite him. Everybody screamed, Logan sucks.
Yep.
He's going to use that energy And that number that they spit it out, Cincinnati, because you are a resident, pay attention to the numbers. What was the number of likes he probably had? What were they kept saying? Because I forget these things.
23 million.
23 million. You better believe Logan Paul gonna run to the bank. He gonna put them gloves on, and he is training legitimately. And everybody's gonna say they're gonna be waiting for somebody to knock him the fuck out. And by golly, if he's able to survive that fight, he's gonna have another one.
Yeah,
Perfect formula. I'm proud of him. Even though I don't like him, I'm proud of him.
You have to say that both celebrities did what they were supposed to do.
Agreed.
That's it. It's very
I'm a believer. I want to be a celebrity so I get to WrestleMania.
But the best thing that Logan Paul did when he was out of the ring and they cut back to him with the refs on him, he's like, what just happened?
Yeah, his reactions were a little something.
Yeah.
No, but he stayed in the moment.
Yeah. And he was like, why'd he do that?
Why do you do that?
Yeah. Yeah, I caught that too.
They really separate him being not a fan.
I think that this match honestly kind of reeled me back in a little bit because I had mentioned that, the chicanery from the first match really kind of, quickly exited me from the proceedings, if you will. This match brought me back in. I was somewhat worried with the addition of Logan Paul that he was going to be a central portion of the match. Thankfully, he wasn't. Outside of a few camera cuts to him, he really didn't play any factor in the match whatsoever. And, it was only until after the match was over that he even got into the ring. And obviously, everybody in the arena wanted him to stun Logan Paul. Everyone wanted KO to stun him. And that's why when he stunned him, that got the loudest pop that we heard all night. And again, like you said, Michaels, it did what they needed to do. And I think we're going to start to see Owens pushed a little bit more. Or at least we can hope.
Real quick, I want to shout out Chris Gale in the chat because, he's always chatting and I want to recognize it. He did say in the chat, about the 5-star classic quotation. Snooki participated back in 2010. The reason why I'm going to mention that is because no one could believe, at least me, I didn't know Snooki could do any type of athletical flips, cartwheels, or anything. Girl, I thought all you was good for was drunk. I thought any cartwheels you would have done at this point from Jersey Shores is if you was drunk and tripped over people. And so, yes, in that way, it probably did help what we saw, the Jersey Shore reunion, even though it took many years after. But again, goes in the same vein. These celebrity matches, I'm even learning.
So Maria Menounos also was part of an intergender tag or whatever the fuck it was with her. And, that's the thing. There's not a lot of memorable people.
No.
And they're celebrities.
Just put them in the right spot.
And, the other thing too is, again, WCW puts the belt on David Arquette. It took David 20 years to get an opportunity to try to show the wrestling fans that he actually loves wrestling. Bad Bunny likes wrestling, man, but the WWE handles it as they usually do better than most places, because I don't think that match happens the way it does if he doesn't commit to training.
It would be very underwhelming because he would just be kind of in the corner. You talking about the Bad Bunny one?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. He would have definitely been in that corner for a hot minute.
Yeah, exactly.
The one thing I want to say is we're going back to the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, because I don't know if y'all touched on it. It is a beautiful thing to watch when you have two close friends get an opportunity to just fuck each other up. And that's the best way I could put it. There was a lot of stuff in that match where I was like, you could only be your best friend and put your safety in the hands of your best friend. I thought going in, okay, I've kind of seen this before. I'm excited, but not hugely. To where now I was like, I kind of want to see them do that again, because it was an amazing match.
Did he just say he likes it when he gets to see two friends fuck each other?
I said fuck each other up. You heard the up.
Oh, I'm sorry. It must have cut out or something.
You reaching for that one, bro. But it was excellent. And Sami Zayn, you know what? Again, I'm gonna sip some more of that Outland juice that Michaels was sipping on. I'm with it, man. Sami Zayn is a gem. Sami Zayn is a gem. I don't know if he watched tapes of crazy delusional people that believe in UFOs probing them in the ass, or like the government's out to get them and kill them and they stay with foil on their fucking walls. Sami Zayn was the embodiment of that fringe of reality and conspiracy, and shout out to him.
No doubt. Sami Zayn, the only question I have for you, when I see you doing those dance moves, who you hanging with? Who you hanging with? Okay? That's all I'm asking.
Sammy can hang with me. We go to the club in Vegas. Holla at me, Sammy.
No, he's hanging with someone because he's got some moves with him. Sheamus and Riddle for the United States Championship. I don't know if I said this out loud, but I'll say it now. I don't like Riddle's gimmick. I don't like it. I hate it. And you can tell me it's for the kids. Fine. That's fine. That's great. I know we do. WWE do it for the kids.
Oh, no, that's a little
for those
too
kids
high.
that celebrate every day at the same time.
I just want to say I hate the gimmick, and I was quite happy for Sheamus to win the United States champion. What's your guys' take on the match?
Well, first of all, let me bust your bubble, Impact. If you think that Sheamus winning the United States title means you'll see less of Riddle on Raw, you're sorely mistaken, because the gimmick you hate is way too freaking over, to the point of people are waiting to see what some weird buffoonery, how high Bill and Ted's Excellent Reefer Adventure Matt Riddle's going to come up with.
Well, let me just tell you, his character has nothing to do with his skill. He is a talented wrestler, and I'm not taking anything away from that. But I just can't take this whole, You
look disgusted.
I was very disgusted. I hate every time he comes in, hey, bro. Come on.
Impact, I have to ask, what did you think of the birds?
Oh, my God.
Oh, no. Don't even ask him. No. Let me tell you what he did, Steve.
Here goes the line.
When them birds came out, the first thing he said, man, this is stupid, man. He was animated as shit.
Yeah, that's right. It's ridiculous.
I love how they had the close-up of the one bird with the eye patch and the pirate hat on. I lost my shit.
Yeah. That was the type.
Not only the birds, but then we also get to see Titus and Hogan in full pirate gear as well.
Can I just say real quick?
But I did like when Bayley came out and when she said, "Hey, hit my pyro." Then she said, "Hey guys, move back," and the pyro just went off. That was great. I love Bayley.
Bayley's a fucking national treasure, man.
She is. She's another one. Her and Sami Zayn, national treasures. So versatile. You said Titus and Hogan. So the whole couple of nights, every time Hogan would call Titus brother, Titus had his look on his face like, you say brother one more time, I'm gonna stick my size. You're gonna find out how big my foot is when it's in your ass.
You want to go to the better one?
What was the better one? Oh, when Baylor no, go ahead. No.
When Hogan Bischoff says, hey, I got the boat. And Hogan's like, yeah, let's go on it for 83 weeks, brother. And they leave.
Right.
And they didn't invite Titus.
None.
I wonder why.
Yep.
It was like,
I caught that too.
It was so obvious. Like, oh man, that wasn't a good move, guys.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. And the bad thing is, he was all proud about it. It's a Hall of Fame thing. You know what I mean? He kept saying it. And it was just like, damn, bro, you going to leave him out like that?
All right. Well, back to the match, though. Sheamus, Riddle, you guys were all right with it? The match overall?
I mean, I'm happy for Sheamus. I mean, he's another one that's put in the work. I mean, the issues with his neck, everybody knows that he doesn't have much time left, being an active competitor. So, I mean, let him get one last secondary championship run and let's see what all he can do and who he can elevate and get that title to. I have no problems with it whatsoever. I mean,
What did you think about him trying to do that? Looked like he was trying to do white noise from off the top of.
He lost his balance. You could tell immediately after that he was pissed off. He knew that he fucked up, and he tried to make it better immediately.
I'm just happy for the first time, like the WWE universe didn't, give him shit for that, because they do stuff like that. You fucked up, or they make.
Well, keep in mind too. I mean, they're in an outdoor stadium.
Right.
It's been raining, and God only knows what kind of issues they could have had. They all in all, they got very lucky that they didn't have any kind of slippage incidents where people like slipped and ate it and like broke something or whatever. So I think that they did get off very lucky with that. But yeah, it still kind of sucked to see, but it was cool to see that the fans really didn't give a "you fucked up" chant or anything to Sheamus. It was cool.
Or at least that we know of.
That we know of. Now, mind you, I will say this. Evidently, they did doctor a "fuck Hulk Hogan" chant. So that was something that I didn't mention. But when they were doing the pirate segment, evidently there was a really loud "fuck Hulk Hogan" chant that broke out, and they played with the levels and got that taken away extremely quickly. But
very quick.
Yeah. My question is, does Hulk Hogan hear that shit, or is he playing the dumb old card like, "Oh, I didn't hear it"?
I guarantee it's the latter. Even if he does hear it, he doesn't care.
The two things that stick out with this match, one, the incredibleness of the underappreciation of Sheamus is amazing, because when Cole started rattling off 4-time heavyweight champion or WWE champion.
Oh yeah.
This makes it 3-time US champion, but King of the Ring.
Yep.
Money in the Bank.
Yep.
Royal Rumble.
He's done it all, except an IC championship run.
Yep.
Right. Which, there you go. It's like they could have just flipped those belts so he could have had that, but the fact of the matter is he's very, very underappreciated, and over these years, a lot of it's because he's very vanilla.
Yeah.
It's just the character. There's not a lot to it. I actually was kind of disappointed. I wish he would have been fighting in the fucking white beater and the jeans and stuff like that, because that at least gives him some more of a character. But the second thing, man, that fucking foot to the mouth.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Riddle proved that even though he plays a stoner, and even though he's known for high flying and, that kind of, and grappling and stuff, that motherfucker is one tough son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Forgetting that hard way in the mouth. There you go. Clip that.
Because you can see him start spitting it out immediately when they showed the replay.
Well, it was so
he
bad.
He got him good. Good.
It was so bad that Simon Street was over here thinking he took a capsule.
Because it was so quick. No, because it was a lot. It was a lot that came out.
I hear you.
Immediately after he got kicked too, he was like, "Holy shit, this was bad."
Yeah.
All right, well, we got that. The next one, the Intercontinental Championship with Big E and Apollo Crews. One of the things that I said that with Simon Street, again, I love to be entertained. I was looking, first off, you had Big E. Wally did his performance to
Wale. It's Wale.
Sorry, Wale.
Not Wally.
Wally.
You're right. Wale. Thank you. Had his performance and he came down and everything, which was great. And Apollo didn't have anything. I thought that would have been really great for there to been, again, some sort of maybe Nigerian African tribe doing some a dance routine, drums down. I just thought it should have been something that really related to who he.
The match was called a drum fucking match or whatever the hell they called it. They had no drums.
Look, guys, y'all didn't hear what Booker said? Book said, "You know what you do with a drum? Beat his ass like a drum." That's basically what the drum meant.
Yeah,
just a metaphor.
I just thought overall it was just a missed opportunity we're giving, and especially knowing he was going to win after all. I mean, it should have been. I just thought it should have been a bigger presence for Apollo with that. But overall, the match. I mean, the match was. I mean, it was all right. It wasn't a bad match. It wasn't the greatest match. It wasn't the worst match. It was just all right. That was for me. But you guys have any take on that particular? I'm happy Apollo got it. I want to see what he does with it. They brought back what's his name?
Is it Papa Dongo or Donga Dinga Donga? Donga Dodo, Badaganda, whatever his name is.
Babatunde Dabakato. He's gone by both of them, so God only knows what they're gonna call him this time.
Look. I'm not gonna go too much. I thought the match was cool, but why they give Baba Dongo Tekatike Tondelanga? Why they give him like such a small little jacket? The boy looked like he was choking in that thing when he came out. I'm glad he did his job with the whatever move that was. But yeah.
You guys want to talk either about Matt or Steve or?
Yeah, I mean, it was a solid match. It was good to see Apollo get the win, especially on this stage. Yes. WrestleMania. This is the biggest match in his career, the biggest win that he's ever had.
Yeah.
And here's a guy that, previous to the pandemic, we were wondering when he was going to get cut, and now he's the Intercontinental Champion again.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. Hopefully they actually let him run with the title for a little while, and maybe this positions Big E to run for bigger and better things.
Yeah.
Well, I think that here you go, guys. Your WrestleMania main event for next year should be Big E versus Kofi. There you go. These guys have been loyal to the bone for decades, plus. They've been the heart of your fucking, merchandising and faction, and letting them do, some goofy shit and letting them do their channels and stuff. There's money in them. There have been for years. It's time. Let Kofi and Big E, and let Kofi get the belt at some point. Either from Lashley or whoever. Let Big E win the Royal Rumble, and then Kofi drops the belt to Big E at WrestleMania next year. Bruce, I'm not charging for any of this, so please take it. It's yours.
There you go.
Now, see, I had a different theory that I told Impact, and he didn't dispute it and say no. I said it's interesting enough because after WrestleMania, not immediately, but following after, we have the draft. Now, interesting enough, all the members of New Day lost their titles. And it's an interesting opportunity that if they end up on the same brand, you could either A, potentially see what you're talking about, Matt Michaels, or also two, you could see them, support Big E in his shot to go against Roman. I mean, if Roman still has the title, but the universal title per se, I don't know, or whatever big major title.
It makes more sense though. Here's the thing. We just talked about the fact that not only were they the first Black female wrestlers, but they've never had two Black men in the main event of WrestleMania. Those are the two guys who should get rewarded with this.
I dig it.
That's as simple as that. Now the draft, that's a whole nother issue because they just had the shakeup recently. And because of COVID and everything, things are kind of out of whack. So there's really actually no indication of when they're planning to do the draft. So it might be a while anyway before we...
after SummerSlam for sure. After SummerSlam for sure.
Possibly because it was later this year.
Yeah.
So.
I think they'll follow suit.
But I thought where you're going with this is when they make their future endeavors in a week, that they're still gonna future endeavor Apollo Crews.
Oh man.
And so they'll just vacate the IC championship.
Wow, that is some bad shit. Well, we can definitely say New Day ain't going nowhere because the merch sales, even when they were separated, the merch sales is ever so strong. So That's an indicator, right, guys?
All right. Let's move. Oh, go ahead.
I do have to say it did kind of suck to see Wale completely Milli Vanilli his performance tonight, though.
Wait. Can we talk about Milli Vanilli and Miz and Morrison having the track playing in the background,
but we're still rapping,
still singing?
Yes.
And then bunny ears were fucking falling off into the ring.
Yeah.
There were 3 one-eared rabbits. The fucking ear on the floor. I'm thinking, man, if kids are watching this right now, they're probably freaking out.
Of course. Yeah, it was definitely interesting to see all of the different lip syncing performances. Some of them were not. Yeah. We're about ready to mention one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But yeah, you had one where it was obvious that there was lip syncing going on, one where there was a backing track and people still were singing over it, and then you had one that was legitimately sung, and it's like, do some standardization here, please.
Okay, can we say it was legitimately sung, or can we say she tried to sing it?
What are you talking about? Are you talking about Ash Costello?
Yeah.
She fucking killed that shit.
Yeah.
She fucking killed that shit. We got 2 tickets. Her concert for the one song.
No. I'm not bringing into play her talent or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
What I'm saying is, because of what you hear, she wasn't hearing exactly right. So when she was screaming, the one part, it was coming off a little off key and a little out of the actual. So it made her seem less. But then when she started singing the lyrics, she sounded fucking great.
Yeah. That's where I noticed is when she was singing the lyric part. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, the verses were on point.
Yeah. Like she knew that song, and Rhea Ripley was happy because she was in the ring, like singing with it. I was feeling the vibe. I was feeling it.
Yeah.
So were you feeling the match?
I was feeling the match to an extent. I'm happy with the result. I felt that the momentum kind of started to die down. I don't know if they meant it to be like that because, Cole did say that this is the type of match that Rhea Ripley wants, slow and methodical. So I don't know if maybe that's the type of match you're supposed to have. I wanted the finish to be a little bit stronger. I'm happy she hit Asuka with the Riptide because that is a very powerful move. That's what she took the belt from Shayna Baszler in NXT. Out of 5, I gave that one literally like a 3.5. I felt it could have been better, but I'm happy Rhea Ripley's the champion.
Did anything stand out to you, Sin City, in this match?
I thought that it was a solid match. I mean, they did exactly what they needed to do. They gained instant credibility for Rhea, and they made her seem like a big deal right from the beginning. And yeah, what a bigger way to get her completely thrust into the title picture. Then let's be real. Has she had a singles match on a main roster? Because I know that she had the Mania match last year, but that was NXT.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So literally her main roster debut at WrestleMania for the Raw Women's Championship, and she wins the championship. Massive. Absolutely massive.
Well, it was good too because she backed up her words when Asuka told her the following night, "You are way too confident." Yep. Which, by the way, Asuka's English is getting much better.
Yep.
Let me ask you this, Matt Michaels. The crowd for the most part was real kind of low key on that. Asuka did the DDT.
Okay.
I didn't think they were that pumped until after
at the beginning of the match. There was a moment where Rhea looked because half the crowd was chanting, "Let's go Asuka." Half the crowd was chanting, "Let's go Ripley."
Well, yeah, but that wasn't all through the match, though, is what I'm saying. I mean, they were just during the time.
Impact is right. In the beginning part, they weren't really saying that, but I did.
Let me just ask Matt. Let me just ask Matt the question. Asuka did the DDT off the apron, and which was actually a pretty cool move to see. But nevertheless, And even then, the crowd, it didn't seem like there was that enthused. But overall, when it was over, Rhea did get the big pop. Where do you think Rhea is going to go from here with her title? Who do you think they're gonna, just out of your thoughts, where she's gonna go with her first match defending that title against?
Well,
what would you like to see?
Here's the interesting dilemma. Where is Charlotte in terms of being available?
Yeah, I had told Simon that as well.
That's what it comes down to.
And that would be SummerSlam. You think they won't say that for Mania for next year?
Again, it all depends. I mean, that's so long away. It's hard to say.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
Like, if someone hurts themselves. I mean, look, Becky had a fucking kid. And by the way, at some point Becky comes back. At some point, there's a chance that Ronda comes back. So, the big question is, does Charlotte come back tomorrow night on Raw and beat Ripley for the title?
That would be some crazy shit. And if anybody could do it, it would be Charlotte.
Well, and that's the thing. The thing is, if you want Charlotte to be your full-on heel, you do that tomorrow night, because the fans did cheer for Ripley when she won.
Mm-hmm.
So the fans already dislike the fact that Charlotte gets handed everything. Give her the fucking title tomorrow night, and you'll have instant heat for the fucking rest of her run. If you ever want to, make her a face, you could turn her, but this would be it.
Yeah. With that, we get finally to the main event match of the night, the Universal Championship. You had Daniel Bryan, you had Edge, and you had Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns walks out. I mean, he stacked them up on one another and got the three. He's the head of the table, guys, right? He is the head of the table. We have to acknowledge him. It's so funny, because I was saying when Simon was here, I was like, he's always was taking the booze with the fans. So now when he takes the booze, it's appropriate now, And so, and he did have those people that were doing that, but he did have some cheers too. What's up?
I'm going to tell you right now,
Mm-hmm.
Piped. Some of those boos were absolutely piped in.
Mm-hmm.
Because on some of the crowd shots, you could see that there were people going like this, but there were other people who were fucking cheering.
Yeah, there was a mixture, because there was also the one where he was by the announce table, and you could kind of hear them up, like booing and whatever. But the ones that were like facing the camera, they were clearly fans. So it was a mixture. Yeah.
So there, again, the one thing that this has really allowed them to do is try to control the narrative of the crowds now in real time based on the fan reaction, because without fucking 60 to 80,000 people in the arena, you can't overdub that.
Nope.
Right.
So we have a controlled group. They can do what they need to do.
So overall, when it comes down to the match, were you guys pleased with that? I mean, was you Edge got off 3 or 4 spears, which was really good. Daniel Bryan, man, those yes kicks, man, they were pretty brutal. I mean, it was really good. What's you guys take on it? I'll start with you, Simon.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I've said for the longest time, I used to be dubbed as the biggest Roman hater, but I always try to clear it up by saying Roman needed to embrace heel and savagery, and that would always work for him. And this is another time that just confirms that Roman is a badass dude. He is earned his rightful place as, this is his yard, and he proved it yet again. And I'll tell you right now, man, Daniel Bryan looked like a stud. Edge looked like a stud, but it wasn't enough. And Roman, once again, obviously with the help of Jey Uso, it was an excellent match. It really was. I would say next to the main event of night 1, I would say this was my second favorite of all WrestleMania. It was just a good match. I appreciated it.
my wife has said, and you heard her, Simon, that she was actually going to WWEshop.com because she wanted to buy a Roman shirt.
Head of the table shirt.
Couldn't get it. It sold out. The one
Gone.
she wanted, the head of the table, and acknowledge me. Go ahead, Matt Michaels.
Are you sure she was trying to buy a T-shirt, or was she trying to see if she could purchase Roman?
You actually might have a good point there. Actually,
she was focused on that phone though.
She was. She had the phone aimed to the TV.
Yes, I thought she was filming the TV.
Yeah, I was worried. There was a lot of shenanigans going on over there. We'll have to talk with her later on tonight about that. Sin City, man, what did you think about this main event match?
I thought it was an absolutely solid match. The build-up was great. The match itself was extremely solid from beginning to end, and the right person won. This was exactly what it should have been. You had Roman Reigns, who for so long, as you guys had mentioned, he was getting unjustly, quote unquote, booed by those of us in the crowd that just couldn't deal with him being on top, even though we rejected him. And I'm including myself in that group that jeered Roman Reigns when he was supposed to be cheered. But now he's finally getting a lot of the boos. You said that there were several people that were cheering for him, but I'd say it's 80-20 now, boos to cheers. And that's what they're looking for from this character. And I think that he did what he needed to do tonight to solidify himself as being a legitimate heel. And everything played out perfectly. Daniel Bryan and Edge both brought it. Both guys that were former retirees getting back into the ring on the biggest stage and just crushing it. All three of those guys left everything in the ring tonight, and it was a solid match. So great work by everyone involved. And shout outs to Heyman for the visuals while Roman was in submissions as well.
Absolutely.
That was amazing.
Yes.
We say it all the time, but that guy is on another level.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Matt Michaels. Take off.
Based on that too, this is where I was gonna go with the most brilliant thing that happened in the match was Paul Heyman, when Edge had the chair ready to go for the concerto onto Daniel Bryan. You hear Paul go, "Please don't do that." And he looks very frightened and sympathetic.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant because of this. In just watching it, it brings up that emotion, right? You see something like that, and even Paul Heyman thinks it's going to be brutal. But then you think like Paul Heyman, and you go, well, of course he doesn't want him to do that because Roman is still down.
Yeah.
If he does that, he's going to win the match. But he didn't have to do the heel manager, typical bullshit managers. No, he actually made it seem like he was a sympathetic person, even though he's a piece of shit down inside. It's brilliant.
Sure.
That's what makes the matches work, doing things like taking Jey Uso and just eliminating him at the beginning.
Yeah.
So that you totally think that he's gone.
Yeah.
And like any good horror film, the villain comes back somehow, and boom, he comes in, and of course costs Edge the match, which I'm assuming that we're maybe going to see a little Edge Uso promo, program.
I'd be
maybe
cool
a
with
little
that.
bit, at least some kind of confrontation.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, and it will help build Jey a little bit more.
Yep.
Mhm.
You got also. Tomorrow's going to be, or Friday's going to be excellent with the fact that Jay's got the trophy, and Roman's got the belt, and so now they've accomplished the biggest feat. The family did it on WrestleMania weekend. Now, what's the next obstacle?
Now you reintroduce Jimmy.
I would love to see that. And I would love to see it that's why I like to see Edge come into this.
Yep.
Like towards that level, because then you could have now the brother come and help, and now you got Jimmy into that fold. So, and it's going to be interesting because I think ultimately, listen, everyone is assuming that you're going to see Rock Reigns. That will be the WrestleMania main event. Honestly, I say if it can be saved till Hollywood, that would make the most sense. Doing it in Dallas next year, it's a huge stadium.
It'd be a waste.
It'd be kind of, a little weird to not take advantage of Hollywood. But I still think that there's a lot of money to be had in an angle with Brock coming back. Maybe even if it's just for a couple weeks going into SummerSlam, to have that as your SummerSlam main event, to just put Paul Heyman through that ringer of who is he loyal to? And that is a story that would be just very captivating. And both guys wouldn't have to do shit. Brock and Roman wouldn't have to do anything other than talk. No touching at all for the two of them until they met in the ring.
Yep.
It'd be fun. But the match did what it needed to do tonight. It was totally fine. I honestly say, though, that Bianca and Sasha should have been your main event. And you could put this match on night one and then put Lashley and Drew on night two, but slotted it, a little higher at first. Yeah. And other than that, man, it was nice to see what could have been a horrifying 2 nights. It could have been just one of those things where you just go, oh boy, this is bad. You didn't know what was.
It's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting that a lot more people seem to have purchased tickets for night 2 than night 1. Night 1, I was just at one point I was like, wow, were there anyone in the bottom 100 levels, because they had darkened that whole area to the point where you only could see, just the ringside area. And then tonight it was a lot more lit when you saw more people. So apparently more people bought night 2 than night 1, which is interesting because seats were actually pretty cheap if you bought them together. You had a pretty good deal on them, but I guess some just say I can't do 2 nights,
And also let's take them to true factor as well. That lightning fucking show might have really kind of turned off some people. Like, hey, fuck it, I got tickets for tomorrow night, so I'm staying away from this night because there's not really a match that I want to see, or something like that. Just like justifying in your head while you're out $120 or whatever. I mean, I think you could get tickets. Yes, couldn't you get tickets for Saturday for as low as like $35 or something?
Yeah, they didn't sell out at all. They had tickets for both nights that were still available. So,
Well, don't tell that to them.
Well, look, overall, like you said, I thought both nights were good. Good nights, guys, and it looked like you might agree with that as well. A great WrestleMania this year definitely was better than what we had for last year, right? So, man, well, we talked about it all tonight about WrestleMania. Next week we'll get back and jump into all the other wrestling programs, and we'll jump back into our regular routine. We still got an entire week of more wrestling to go through. We get to see what new storylines and everything that's going to start with WWE, and this week, and we'll see where all that goes.
Tuesday NXT.
Yeah, no,
that's right.
Excited.
Yeah. So it's good stuff. Final thoughts, guys, for the week. You want just to throw out there? Let me see. Okay, I'll just read a couple of comments to see if I miss anything. All right, Simon Street, what you want to tell the people?
I was going to say, it's been a fun week of wrestling. Let's also reflect on the moment that if you liked what you saw for the first time, really think about what's in your neck of the woods with in independent wrestling. You know, oftentimes the gem that people miss sometimes, especially now with how the WWE is really starting to cultivate and reach out to these promotions, you might very well be seeing the makings of the next big star in WWE or major promotions. And imagine how great it would feel when your guy that you had in your own backyard that you've been rooting for, you bought the shirt, you showed up, you know, in the iron halls is what they call them, in, you know, high school arenas, you see them move on up. It's really a beautiful thing to see. Mm-hmm. And so I try to challenge everybody, if you possibly can, you know, go out and support your independent wrestling promotions in your backyard if you can. I mean, I know it's hard, but try it. You'd be surprised. There's a lot of talent that's just sleeping and waiting to just get that right moment. So thank you for tuning into the show. That's it.
No doubt. Sin City.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us. A lot of activity in the chat. So it's always good to hang out in there and, you know, get instant feedback from you guys. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, everything that you guys do to the show. Special shout outs to Jade and to Storm and Mormon. Thank you guys for everything. Extremely special shout outs to all of the brave men and women serving this country on lands both foreign and domestic. Thank you for everything you do. And last but not least, repsports.com, reppsports.com. Use promo code Vegas at checkout and save yourself 15%.
No doubt. Matt Michaels.
Yeah, condolences to Shotzi Blackheart and the Hardys, who both lost their fathers, I think within the last 24 hours or so. So, you know, thoughts to them and their families.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone, thank you for hanging out with us. And just do us a favor and spread the word about Vegas Badboyz as we continue to build our brand. And if you ever want to support, you can always do that. If you have the Cash App, just send that to Vegas Badboyz with a Z. Vegas Badboyz. You can shoot us whatever amount you like. And we're using that right now to help promote our podcast across the world, so people can enjoy what you enjoy. So we thank you for everything you do. We appreciate you for listening, and we'll see you next week. With that.